Hello. So in this unit we are going to discuss introduction to the Bootstrap, right? So what is Bootstrap and various components and elements which are coming into the Bootstrap. So we are going to discuss a simple program, how we are going to use the Bootstrap, what is the containers and the colors, and so many other elements, basic elements like it might be table, images, button, progress bar, how to use all those things we will be trying to discuss. So first of all, let us try to look into what do you mean by the Bootstrap. Right, Bootstrap is it's one of the framework. We can say it's a front-end framework for faster and easier web development. So when we are talking about the web development, after the ECMAS 6, or you can say modern JavaScript, and lot of changes happened into our web development. So then they came up with a new idea of the mobile first technology. So what do you mean by this mobile first philosophy with respect to Bootstrap? Basically, so as we know that as the internet evolved and as the mobile phone become very much important in our day-to-day activities, and the popularity of the smartphone, so everybody customers started using their mobile phone. They wanted to use their mobile phone as a basic platform through which the websites or the web application was been executed. So to handle that situation, so in the year 2010, the Twitter released the Bootstrap as a open source. Now what this Bootstrap generally, it contains HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So till now we have studied the basics of HTML, so we know how to do the coloring or how to deal with the CSS scripts. So then we have also looked into the Java script. Now we are going to study one of the popular platform which is called as a Bootstrap. So now when we try to understand the basic advantage of using the Bootstrap, it is best generally used for web development, right? So the main reason is mobile first approach. So when we are going to have build any web application for mobile first approach, that means we are going to target mainly our mobile phones. You want to design a website which can be visible in our mobile phone first, then we will look into whether it is a laptop or a larger screen. So, and if you are talking about a responsive design, so basically what do you mean by a responsive design is that when you build an application, whatever the layouts you are trying to do, it might be a text box or few button or video or other things in your layouts. So that layout, whether you talk of a laptop, whether you talk of a medium screen or a small mobile phone, so it has to adjust itself in that particular resolution or display resolution, whatever we are talking. So we have to do in that particular way. That's what we call responsive design. And automatic web browser supporting, so it tries to handle almost all the web development or the browsers. So these are some of the important points. So this is the same thing which is present in this particular slide. As the number of mobile phone users in the worldwide increased, right? So initially it were very less, but later on, as we know, nowadays everybody is using almost all web application we are trying to use with our mobile phone. So the first thing is that whenever you are going to build a web application, so first we want to target the mobile users, so later our desktop comes into the picture, right? That's where the responsive design comes. So if you look into the Bootstrap, as we discussed that, so it is a CSS based front-end framework. So it is a front-end framework where we are using lot of CSS. So previously we were supposed to write the CSS and do lot of changes or do coloring or whatever the layers we want to do. So we have to write a very big code or lengthier code. So if you just look here, so whenever we are trying to build an application, in any web application we will be having some layouts will be there, some typography will be there. That means you have to look into with respect to the text, font, its shape, size, etc. We'll be having a navigation menu, forms will be there, buttons and pagination, icons, responsiveness. To do all those things for each and everything, we are supposed to write a CSS for building that. So we have to write your separate style, which was a very lengthier code which used to take lot of time. So to help that, the Twitter released this particular framework called as a Bootstrap. So by using this Bootstrap, we can try to look into all these fundamental tasks which can be done. We can do it in a very faster way, and it is very easier also. So and also it is easy to create responsive web layout by using the Bootstrap. So we can note down on those things as an advantages. It saves lot of time because you can build it very fast. Web applications, that is the front end we're talking about. And we have got a responsive feature. We can talk about the responsive web pages, consistent design, easy to use, and compatible with all the type of the browsers. So apart from Bootstrap, we have other popular CSS framework also. Like say, apart from the Bootstrap, when you try to look into the CSS framework, we have got Materialize CSS, Foundation, Bluma, Semantic, UI, Pure.css. Now all these are the various other CSS frameworks which are available, but we are trying to look into the one very popularly used in the industry, which is called as the Bootstrap. So once you know how we are going to use the Bootstrap, then any of these particular CSS frameworks can be used here. So now we will try to see how to use these particular CSS, that is the Bootstrap. So when you are talking about the responsive design basics, so as we were telling, what do you mean actually by a responsive design or responsive website? So in practically, whenever we are designing a website, all these website will be responsive in nature. So when we are using this particular term responsive, it means that you are going to design and build your web application that properly renders all the tags or whatever you are having built on your layouts on your web page in almost all the devices, irrespective of the device size, browser, screen resolution, and so on. Whether you are using a laptop, whether using a mobile phone or a widescreen desktop, whatever might be your device sizes and irrespective of browsers, now you want your pages to be rendered properly. In that way you have to build your application. So then we say that, so it is a responsive web design. So the best approach to do this, to design in a smaller size screen and to move to the larger screen. That's why it is called the Bootstrap CSS. We say it as a mobile first. That means if you are right now, if you are going to build any web application, first you look to design that in your smallest device. So then you further move into the largest device. So to do that, now to give a responsive effect, so there are four important things which has to be done. The first one is setting the viewport. So now we have to set the viewport, then we have to size your content to the viewport. Next we are going to use some media queries to achieve the responsiveness, so and responsive design patterns. Now what are these things? We'll try to look one by one. Now what is the setting viewport? Now as we already know that, so whenever, like say, whenever you are going to build a website, right? So when we have opened our VS Code, so till now we have seen a lot of codings in our VS Code. When you insert your boiler tag code, so you can see one particular line which is been coming by default. Till now we have not discussed this line. So what it says that in our head section we have got meta name is equal to viewport, right? So now this particular viewport, then we have content equal to width, and width is equal to device hyphen width, initial scale is equal to 1. So now this is a very important thing. So this name equal to viewport, now this is an attribute now which helps us to give the responsive design. So we'll try to see what that viewport is. So what do you mean by a viewport? As you can see here, meta name equal to viewport. So this by default, the boiler code tag is going to add this. It adds this particular line, right? So what do you mean by viewport and the content? So we will try to understand this thing. So setting the viewport. Now what is a viewport? A viewport is that visible area of your web page on the device or monitor the user is accessing. Whenever you are going to use, suppose say that this is a laptop, so when I open a particular web page in my laptop here, so now this is my viewport. This is where I can try to see my web pages in our viewport. So what happens if the same website, if I am going to access in my mobile phone, so it might be visible in a different form. so it might be visible in our different form. So that is what we call a viewport. So it is that visible area of your web page on the device, whatever the device you are targeting or the monitor the user is accessing on. And the size of the viewport varies with this device. As we already know that when you are talking about our mobile phone, the screen will be very small, and for a tablet it is little big, and for a desktop computers the screen is still not bigger, and if you are viewing the same website in your television, so still much larger size screen resolution or the screen we are talking about. So pages targeted, so we should target our page, and it should be optimized on all these type of devices. So to do that, so we are trying to use this tag or the property called as the viewport. So this particular viewport helps us to render the, it makes the browser to understand so which is that screen you are talking about, and how the pages or the layouts what you have put in your web designing, it is rendered into that particular devices. So to do that, this is the tag what just now I have shown. So meta name equal to, you are going to use viewport. So once you say name equal to viewport means the content what you have designed, now it will be adjusted to all these devices. So you are talking about whether it is a small mobile phone or a larger devices or like a TV or a medium devices. So then content, so next one is the content equal to width equal to, so we are talking about the content which is present in your website. Now what should be the width of this content? So you are targeting width equal to device underscore width, whatever may be the width device. So the meta viewport value, that is device underscore width, it instructs the browser to match the screen width in the device. So it is going to match what is my screen width, whether you are talking about a small phone, mobile phone, or whether you are talking about a tablet. It matches with the device independent these screens, and it tries to render the pages. And HTML file has introduced this meta tag. So from our HTML file onwards, so this meta tag viewport was being used here. And the initial scale, so initially by default this scale will be set to 1. So next is sizing your content to the viewport. Now irrespective of device and the browser that the user is working, so nobody prefers a horizontal scroll bar. So we don't generally like a horizontal scroll bar. So like say for example, if you try to put one image with a width of 600 pixel in a screen, and with another image of 320 pixel, so you will face a horizontal scroll bar to see the full image. So when you are putting when your device size reduces, then a horizontal scroll bar comes, so wherein which you are trying to look into that image. So that is not a proper way of we can say horizontal scroll bar is not preferred. So a proper responsive design requires that all web page content is also automatically adapted to your screen viewport. So it should be automatically adapted. So that's what we will be saying. You want to design a responsiveness or give a responsiveness effect to your content. Now to do this, so we try to use something called as a media query. So we are going to, in CSS we are trying to write a query called as a media query. So this media query it will try to target. So we are going to specify, like say what is the maximum width and how we are going to target this content, so which is very popularly written, that is media queries in our CSS. So later I will put a short video how we are going to write your media queries in your CSS, so that based on your screen's resolution, so how you try to target the elements. So that another small video I will be posting on that. So next, coming to the responsive design pattern. So basically there are certain standard patterns which have been adopted for responsive design. Few of them are, first one is the fluid design. What do you mean by fluid design? So this is the most popular and easiest option for a responsive design. Now here what happens, the larger screen multiple column layout is being considered as a single column. That means when you looking for a fluid design, so it tries to consider the entire column. So what is the maximum size? It tries to occupy the maximum size of your device. So that's what the fluid. Then in that we try to alter and put that into a smaller column, and it once you go from a larger column to smaller column, it tries to render it into the smaller column also. So by default it talks about the complete larger screen. Then we have got column drop. So column drop means once you go with this particular design pattern, as your the screen width of the column becomes very small. So when you are talking from a laptop, you want to view your page in a mobile phone, then automatically what happens is the last column will be dropped. So if the content is block, the content block is visible first in some order. Once this the screen size, that is the device screen size, reduces, now the block will be rendered as a second or third column. It automatically goes down, so depending upon the width of our device. So that we call column drop design pattern. Then we have got layout shifter. Now this is bit complicated in the advanced level of CSS, where you are going to say when we try to build very complicated websites, so at that time we try to use this layer shifter, where from one particular layer the layout, the complete layout itself is going to shift from larger screen to smaller screen, etc. So these are the three basic responsive design patterns we are having. So these were some of the basic things about the Bootstrap. Now we'll try to see how to download the Bootstrap and what is the basic Bootstrap file structure. Now this is a very important, again the Bootstrap file structure is an important question with respect to your examination. So what you are supposed to do is first go to the in order to download the Bootstrap, you have to go to the Bootstrap website. So let us see that. We will open. So you open the Bootstrap website. So you can go to this particular website, getbootstrap.com. So when you go to this particular website, now you can see that you have got documents, you have got examples, various icons, themes, whatever is available here. So on the right hand side, you can see here we have got something called as versions. So when you click on this, now you can see all the previous versions and the latest version. So version 5.3.x is the latest version of Bootstrap which is available for us. So you can click on which version you want to of the Bootstrap. Then you can go to the documents. So when you click on this documents, now you can see on the left hand side here you are going to get all the various, that is the documentation with the simple coding and example of for everything which is present in our Bootstrap with related to that particular version. So like say now how you are going to download the Bootstrap, what all the browsers and devices it is going to support, because see Bootstrap also comes with the JavaScript also, and how you can customize related to your colors, different kind of supports which is given for colors and layouts, what is the breakpoints, containers, grids, and even forms, components, various components which is present in or HTML utilities, for each and everything in this documentation. So we are going to get the things. So first is that how we are going to download the Bootstrap. So when you go to the download button, so now you can see that the Bootstrap you are going to get in two versions. So one you get as a compiled CSS and JavaScript source code. So you can see it in two forms. Right now you can see here, now there are two things comes. One is compiled and minified CSS bundle. The other one is compiled and minified JavaScript plugin. So one comes with only CSS and the other comes with both CSS and JavaScript. So what you are supposed to do is, now you can go and download. You can download this Bootstrap. Now already I have downloaded, or let us say that once again I will download. I'll click on this download button. So now you can just go to this particular folder, okay, where you have downloaded your Bootstrap. So once you go into your downloaded file, now you can see that you have got two files here. One is CSS with a folder and the other one is JavaScript. Now if you go to the CSS, so you are going to see these are all the different files. Now you can see here we have so many files which you are going to come. So now you have got, like say when you say first, this is the bootstrap.css extension. We have got bootstrap.min minified version.css. So these are the two things. So both are the one and the same. So one is the normal Bootstrap, the other one is minimized version. So and we have got so many other mapping files also, right? So we have some for utility, reboot, then grid. So but these two files are important. Now either you can use bootstrap.css or bootstrap.min.css. Now what you have to do is you have to copy these files into your folder. Say you started your VS Code and you are going to create one particular folder. Now in this folder you can see here, so you have to copy that particular file into your folder. So this is our bootstrap.css, just now what we have downloaded. So now this is the bootstrap.css file. So everything for the Bootstrap classes, what they have defined, all the codings we already got and it has been included. Now what we have to do is that in our head section, so you have to give a link to this. Now you can see here I have given link relative style sheet href equal to, now give that link to the Bootstrap file. So this is the Bootstrap file which you have copied. So you can use either the Bootstrap or you can go and use the bootstrap.min.css. This is a minified version. So again it depends upon whether you are going to use for a development purpose or a production purpose. Based on that, so you can try to include both are the one and the same. Minified version, that is the one is minified version and the normal version, both are the one same, but the thing is in minified version the size will be compressed by removing all the extra spaces. So this is the one way you are going to insert your Bootstrap file. The second method is that by using a CDN. So now you can use this, the another way in which you can try to install your Bootstrap. So what you are going to do is that you can just go to this. Now you can see you have got link here. Now this where it talks about bootstrap min.css. Now you can see this is our Bootstrap file. The second one is the script. This is our JavaScript file. This is our JavaScript. So you can see that when you have downloaded Bootstrap, one folder you got CSS, the another folder you are going to get JavaScript. Now in JavaScript also you have, you can see bootstrap.js. So you have got bootstrap.js and bootstrap minimized version.javascript. The size, when you go for the minimized version, the size is very less. So the both. So when you are going to include your JavaScript, so you know that at the end of your body tag, so you are going to include, you can download that JavaScript into your folder file and you just give a link to that folder. That is the one method. The second one is by using this CDN. So what you have to go is that, so you have to just copy this particular link, that is the CDN line, go to your head section and you just insert it. So you just insert this CDN, so your Bootstrap is been included. But one thing you should note that when you are working with this CDN, so you should have an internet connection, because once you get to the internet connection from this HTTP in this particular server, so you are going to download all the Bootstrap files. Whereas in the second method, you are going to download the Bootstrap files in your local system and you try to use that in your project. So these are the two ways in which you are going to insert a Bootstrap. So clear. Now let us try to see, let me try to create one simple file. So let us create first.html. So now we have created, I will include a boiler tag to this. So now in my head section, let us say in body section, I will include one tag. Welcome to Bootstrap. Now let us try to open this in our browser. You can see, so we got the content here. Now the same thing we will try to link our Bootstrap. So we will say link. So we have one first method. Already I have downloaded this bootstrap.css and I have included in my folder here. So we are going to give that link to that Bootstrap. Let me save this. Now you can see there is some difference. They automatically, you can see that the font size, the font type, everything has changed. Why it has changed is that now you are trying to display it Bootstrap by using Bootstrap. By default, some properties have been set for this, for our Bootstrap. So that means now our Bootstrap is working properly. That means you have installed the Bootstrap and it is working. So this is the first method, as I told. The second method is that, so I will just comment this section. So what is the second method? You can go to this CDN, right? So you can go to this CDN, you just copy this link, come to your file, and you just post it into your file. So now we'll save this. You can see it is working, right? So these are the two ways. So one way is either download the file, or the second method is you can just give a link to this. So this is the one file. The second file generally you are supposed to use is the script. I can see you have got the script also. Link is given, that is the JavaScript, because Bootstrap comes with both CSS and JavaScript. Since it is a JavaScript file, we'll go to the end of our body and we'll insert this script scripting file also. If in case further when you are working with JavaScript also, then also that can be is available for us in our Bootstrap. So these are the two ways in which you are going to insert our Bootstrap. Clear? So now we will talk about the same thing. So what is this Bootstrap file structure? Now it is a pre-compiled bundle. So once you download the Bootstrap, depending upon the various version, so now it comes with the folders. Now just now you have seen that we have downloaded the version 5.3.2. So once you download this Bootstrap, this latest version, you are getting with the two files. Now whereas when you are talking about the older versions, now you will be having the three files in the previous versions. So the three folders are, the first one is the CSS folder, then you have got JavaScript folder, and you have got fonts folder. So these are the three root folders, so which you are going to see. Now this first one is folder.css. Now when you are talking about folder.css, now we have got so many files are there. Similarly, when you are going for fonts, you will be having some font files, Glibson fonts. So now what is that particular? So we'll just go to that. Okay, so we will try to see this. What do you mean by icons? So this is the Bootstrap Glibcon icon component. Now what happens is that it provides us the various icons. So now you can see here, so like say emoji styles, which we try to use in our mobile phones or any website. When you go for each and everything, you can see small icons which you can try to see here. Now all these icons by default it is trying to provide in that particular file. So various types of icons you can try to use it in our website in order to give very more designing. So that is available in this particular folder, fonts folder. Then we have got a JavaScript JS folder, now which contains all the JavaScript files. So the first folder is CSS. Now what does CSS contain? Now this folder encapsulates it contains or encapsulates all the Bootstrap CSS file. So for development purpose, again we have two types of files. For development purpose, generally we use the full CSS file. That is what we have tried to do it here. So when I downloaded, I have installed here bootstrap.css. This is a complete CSS file. Now suppose say that if I include the minified version of this CSS, now let me try to show you what does that minified version of CSS. You have got bootstrap.min. So you will just copy that file here. I think it is not copied. Let me try to open it from here itself. Now you can see here, this is the Bootstrap minified version file, and this is the Bootstrap normal version file. Both are one and the same, but when you look here into our minified version, so you can't understand anything. You can see here, you cannot understand, because all the white spaces, they have removed all the white spaces, so that it is minified version, the size becomes very less. Whereas in the actual file, so you can see there is lot of white spaces, just like everything you can try to understand. This is the main difference between minified version and a normal version of our Bootstrap. So one is the full CSS file, that is a non-minified copy. When we are working for the production development, that is being used, and when you are going for the production, you can use the minified version. When you are going for a development, you can use the non-minified version. So we have got minified version, and there are certain themes.min.css. so we have so many other different types of files. You can see here, you have got for grid, Bootstrap grid, grid min is there, then you have got reboot, utilities. Now when we are talking about the complete CSS file, everything is bundled in that. Instead of using all those things, you can use one particular file. So the first folder, it contains about our complete CSS styles is bundled. The second folder is the fonts. So glypcons, icons is been available here. Lot of icons help you can try to take with our Bootstrap, the second folder. And the third folder is the JavaScript. Now all the JavaScript components and plugin which is required for our Bootstrap, now it is been included. So you can these Bootstrap JS plugins, it uses our jQuery. So using the jQuery, you can still make your JavaScript more easy. In the next topic, we'll be discussing about our jQuery also. Now this is the structure of our file structure. So in the examination, so again it's an important question, this structure, the Bootstrap file structure. So you have to explain this Bootstrap file structure, which contains normally the three folders: CSS folder, fonts folder, and the JavaScript folder. So this is in a very brief, we have tried to understand now what is our Bootstrap and how we are going to use this particular Bootstrap, that is how to download the Bootstrap and how we are going to use the Bootstrap. Clear? So in the next class, so we will be talking about our containers. So we'll start with our container class. Now what is this container class, and how many types of container class is there, and how we are going to use this container class. So these things we will be discussing in our next topic.